Good evening, everybody. It's Dr. Mark Waller along with Vanessa Marino, and we're here
Hello.
on our regular Thursday night program. And tonight we're going to show you how you can use your body to hack your brain. And hopefully, we will have some interest in what we're doing, and you'll respond to us in the comments because I think this is going to be very interesting. And I want to warm up a little bit before we jump right into this, in case some people come online. I don't want to miss the very beginning of this. But this has to do with kinesthetic anchors. And so you probably already know what this is, but let me explain it and you can help me clarify it.
Okay.
So what we do with the kinesthetic, and this is part, I was introduced to this through neurolinguistic programming many, many years ago. And maybe you will run across this on the internet. It's called NLP for short. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole it's a whole new psychology that was built by Bandler and Grinder years ago, based on the work of Milton Erickson and a couple other founders in psychology. And kinesthetic anchoring is one of the principles. Another principle of NLP is eye movement. So just to go over that briefly, kind of orient people to what we're doing here. In NLP, if you look up like this, that means you're visualizing something. If you look straight ahead, kind of defocused, that means you're creating a picture in your mind. If you look right, that means you are verbally, I think it's verbally remembering. If you look left, you notice you're looking at your ears. When you look
Yeah.
to the left, you are constructing a verbal thought. And if you look
Oh,
down, if your eyes go down, you're looking into your feelings because that's your
that's
body.
cool. Yeah.
And it's true. What they discovered is true. It works. So when you're talking to somebody, you ask them a question. If they go like this, they're trying to remember what somebody said or what they said to themselves. If you ask them a question and they go like this, it's visual recall. They're trying to recall
Yeah.
something visually.
Oh, cool. I love this already.
Well, and as a therapist, I've used this. When I'm talking to people and I ask them a question, I can see right where they're going because I'm watching their eye movements.
Oh, hence why it always feels like our therapists are judging us because they're intently looking at us.
I don't think a lot of therapists use NLP, but yeah, I can
Mhm.
pick up the visual cues. If I ask you how was your day today and you go like this, you're checking your feelings.
That's true. I do that
If
all
I
the
ask
time.
if I ask you what did you have for breakfast, you go like this, you're making a picture in your mind. You're recalling what was on the plate, what it looked like.
I
Okay,
can
so
attest to a
let's
lot of these. Okay.
yeah, there's and this is all documented stuff. I mean, it's crazy. And back about 20, 30 years ago, it was all the rage. It's a big deal. NLP was a big deal. So one of the things they discovered was a way to anchor certain states to body feelings.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to show you how this works. So what I want you to do is, because people are watching, I want you to find this big muscle that's on the back of your hand between your thumb and your index finger. There's a big muscle
Okay.
right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. So what I want you to do is I want you to remember a time when you thought you were really attractive and you had it all together and you were confident. I want you to remember that time. And when you've got it in your memory, let me know.
I'm trying not to look up because I'm trying to make a
Well,
picture.
it doesn't. No.
Like you just said. Okay. Oh no. You kept looking up. I don't have. Do I tell you the when it was the time?
No. When you have it in your
No. Oh,
memory,
okay.
they'll let me know when you're ready.
Um. Okay. I kind of have it in my memory.
All right. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to recall it again, and this time I want you to squeeze that muscle. Hold your hand up and squeeze the
It's
muscle
this,
when you
right?
recall it. When you recall it, when the image is there, when the feeling is there, squeeze that muscle.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Okay. So now what you've just done is you have linked that feeling of that day with that experience to squeezing this muscle. You've anchored it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called a kinesthetic anchor.
Kinesthetic anchor.
It's
Got it.
kinesthetic because you can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's called an anchor because you have anchored a state, a feeling state, to the feeling in your body.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you're listening to this live and you have any
Oh,
questions or comments, put them in the comments and we'll respond because this is fascinating stuff. Okay, so what
yeah.
I want you to do is I want you to do it again. We really want to anchor this in. So remember that feeling you had, you having that experience where you looked in the mirror or you were in front of people and you knew you had it all together and you were beautiful and you were confident. And when that feeling comes up, squeeze that muscle right here,
Mm,
and that will anchor that feeling to that body feeling.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay? All right. Now I
Never
want
heard
to
it
do it a
before.
third I want to do it a third time.
Mm,
Okay, so, let it all go away and now go back to that memory, that experience that you had.
mm.
And when that feeling rises inside of you and you feel that confidence and you feel that positive sensation, squeeze that muscle again in your hand.
Squeezing it the entire time because I remember
Well,
that feeling.
yeah, that's good. Just you don't have to, do it incessantly. Just a good
Mm,
solid squeeze for a few seconds is all you need. Now, if you're listening to this and you want to try this, you don't have to do it in this place on your hand. You can squeeze your thigh above your knee.
mm.
You could squeeze your wrist. You could touch your nose. It doesn't matter. There's no specific spot where the anchor needs to be. So if it's more convenient for you, to touch your nose, or you could pull your earlobe. That's an anchoring point. Okay, so now what we've done is we've anchored that very positive feeling to your body, to a
Okay.
specific place in your body. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's pause there and see if you have any questions about what we've done so far.
Um, a thought came up for me of, do we also use kinesthetic anchors when we're angry?
Yes, because when we get angry, we release a lot of chemicals into the body, and that's an anchor.
Okay. Because I always think, because when you said, yeah, pull your ear, I'm like, I don't want to do that because when I'm angry, I pull my ear.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
any other questions on how this works? So the brain now has associated this positive state with that feeling in your body.
So I'm guessing this is kind of like that positive mind frame that we can get in. Like, okay, think of that time. And if
Hmm.
I like press, if I press that part of my hand, it's gonna automatically think about a time that I was confident.
That's absolutely correct, and we're going to use that
Okay,
in a minute. We're
I like
going to
that.
use it in a minute. So
Okay.
again, if you're watching this and you have some questions about what we're doing, this evolves tonight. This is going to evolve into something very special
Mhm.
because this anchoring principle, we're going to use it for a deeper purpose here. So now what I'm going to do is try to trigger. I want you to forget the anchor and all that stuff now, and
Mhm.
I'm going to say
Okay.
something to you. Well, wait a minute. Let's do this. I have a better way of doing it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to ask me what I had for lunch today. And we've done this before,
Yes, we have.
but that's okay.
Yes,
So
you're right.
and when I answer the question, just notice how it feels. So
Okay. I have a feeling
let's
I know
try
what we're
this.
doing.
If this doesn't work, we'll try something else. So so go ahead and answer me the question, what I have for lunch today, and then watch what feeling comes up when I respond.
Okay. What feeling? What feeling? Oops. What did you have for lunch today, Mark? I knew you would do that. I
Okay,
knew you'd do
what was
something.
the feeling you had when I didn't respond?
Anxiety. Anxiety, Mark. Because why aren't you responding right when I need you to respond? It doesn't
Okay.
take a second to respond.
Okay, so now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least amount of anxiety and 10 being maximum, how would you rate your response?
8.
That was an 8. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to do this again.
Okay.
And this time what I want you to do is when I respond and you feel that feeling, I want you to squeeze the anchor. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. So
What did you
ask me what I
Okay.
had for lunch. Okay, go ahead.
What did you have for lunch today, Mark?
Show everybody
Dear
what you did.
God.
Show
I
everybody.
pressed on this so hard it should be purple.
Okay. All right. Now here's the question.
Yeah.
How would you rate your reaction this time on a scale of 1 to 10?
Ooh, it was about a 5. We're getting better.
Okay. Isn't that
Yeah, because
interesting?
it is because I was channeling because I have an image. I'm very visual, so I had an image
Hmm.
of what when you had first told me think of a time when you were very confident, you felt beautiful, you felt like you had it all together. I had an image of when I looked that way.
Hmm.
And whenever you had stayed silent and I got that anxiety and I started pressing on this part of my hand, all I could think about was that image and of me smiling and thinking, "Oh, everything's going to be okay. You're fine. He doesn't hate you. Remember that."
And so let's try it just one more time.
Mhm.
Ask me the question again, and when I respond, and the instant you feel the feeling of any kind, fire off that kinesthetic anchor. Squeeze that point. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Mark, what did you have for lunch today?
Show everybody how you're doing that. Okay. So she's triggering the anchor. Now, that time you had a reaction. Can you rank that on the scale of 1 to 10?
Definitely a 3.
Okay, what's happening here?
I'm going back to a place of reassurance
Yeah.
instead of a place of just, I guess, my human frailty.
Now, if you're watching this and you're trying this at home, let us know what your experience of this is in the comments. I'll be very interested. But you notice that the reaction is going down and becoming less and less negative as we go along, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm also wondering if that would happen for me in real life because obviously you are a safe person and I know you don't hate me. So now I'm wondering what is it going to be like when it's someone that stresses me the heck out and I really don't want to deal with them and I wish I didn't have to be in that predicament. Like
It'd be
I'm just interesting. I'm interested. Like what is it going to be like for me?
it would be very interesting to find out, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
And
it is.
so what we've done now neurologically, what we've done is we have linked the wiring for the positive experience to the wiring for the negative experience. And you now cannot, it's not possible for you to experience one without the other.
Right.
Simon, good evening.
Simon. Hi, Simon.
So, this is what Simon's saying. Guys, isn't this more mind games for the ego who needs to hold positive thoughts and feelings to hold on to and anchor? That's not where we're going with this. I can understand totally why you're saying that. Vanessa, what's your response to Simon's comment?
Um, I guess I understand where he's coming from though, because of the ego wanting to always go to a
Right.
positive. mindset, but then also there's the other side of like, well, then why have to go to the negative? Because
Hmm.
we're also so used to that too. I would much rather go to the positive because not all of life is negative or positive. Sometimes it's very neutral.
So what we're doing here literally is we're trying to show the principle
Mm-hmm.
of kinesthetic anchors work great. You know, they can
Mm-hmm.
really help reprogram the brain, but more fundamentally, we're showing the principle of how to use the body to hack the brain.
Right.
Why is that possible? But it's possible because we can intentionally link
Mm-hmm.
two experiences together neurologically in the brain. Now they're wired together.
Yeah.
So it's more than just a mind game for the ego. It's what we're trying to do is we're trying to rewire the way the ego responds.
Ooh. So we're actually targeting the ego, not feeding it.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Good way to see it.
So and what we've done is shown in successive experiments that every time you re-experience this, obviously you're anticipating it,
Mm-hmm.
but when you fire that kinesthetic anchor off, the result is less impactful than it was before.
Right.
And now, what's my purpose in doing this? For a clever parlor trick? No, because what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that neural networks in the brain can be and already are linked up. So we're gonna take this in a bit of a different direction here in a few minutes. Did that did that answer your comment, Simon? You have anything more you want to add to that? Feel free.
I appreciate Simon's question though, because I
Hmm.
really do see the correlation
Yeah. No, I can see
that,
why he
yeah.
would interpret it that way. It makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Thank you, Simon. You always bring a different perspective.
After we wire them together, are we about to abandon both and step back as the witness? Yes, but not those experiences. We're gonna find out how we can use this principle to step back and be the witness. You're exactly right.
Awesome.
Simon's got like a Mensa IQ. We had him on the broadcast here about 3 or 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and
I think it's time for him to come back. You need to
yeah,
come back, Simon. Please
the
and thank
man
you.
has got a mind like a steel trap. There's no question about it. Okay, so let's take this to the next level.
Okay.
All right, so when you've been in relationships, Vanessa, what is the thing the other person does that really makes you angry, gets a reaction from you?
Ooh, we're gonna get personal real quick. I love this.
Well, well, don't
Um.
don't don't make it personal by naming names, but
Oh, no, 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 absolutely not. Um. Ooh. But it's gonna. This is ugly. Okay. So, when, because I already know what you're gonna say after this, but
no,
it's when. Don't judge me, Mark. Okay. But when they have. How do I even communicate this? Um, when they don't know how to lead the relationship, so I have to
okay, so,
lead for them.
so when they're passive,
Very passive. Hmm.
okay, and what is your interpretation of what they're doing to you?
They don't actually care about me. I'm not their dream girl because if I was, they would actually lead.
Okay, so now let me explain how the brain works and where we're going to go with this. Okay, just
Okay.
kind of keep that in mind and remember what Vanessa said. When she's in a relationship with somebody who doesn't lead, that forces her to lead, and she feels like they don't care about her.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, is a common theme in virtually every couple I see.
Okay.
So lions end up being the leaders. Unicorns are more passive, and they are followers because that's more safe, and it makes the lion feel like they don't care.
Yeah.
It's very destructive to the relationship. There's JD Coffee. Are there suggested specific physical movements for different emotions? If you were on at the very beginning, we talked about eye movements. There are eye movements that are specific to various ways the brain accesses information. And so I don't know now if there was somebody who's more into the physical, they could maybe answer that. But in my experience, I don't believe there are physical movements for different emotions. I don't know. What do you think, Vanessa?
I don't think I know too much about movements. Like I've seen a little bit about somatic movements,
Uh-huh.
but I don't want to speak on something I don't know too much about.
Yeah, what this
But
implies to me is if I raise my right arm, I'm going to feel jealousy. If I raise my left arm, I'm going to get angry or.
or maybe like maybe there's certain emotions. I guess I just need a little bit more from the question. Like JD, do you mean like are there certain movements that would like help like relieve tension or that might create a better sense of happiness? Can you elaborate, JD? Because I'm very curious about your question and maybe we can answer that at a later time when we have more information because I don't want to disregard JD either.
Yeah, JD is he is a mountain intellect. There's no question about it.
Oh, good. I love that.
He's an amazing person and a good friend. All right, so we've established that you have this major reaction when somebody in a relationship is not the leader, and you are forced to be the leader, and it makes you feel like you're not special, that they don't care. All right, now let's talk about how the brain works. In order for you to feel that feeling, it has to come from a part of the brain called the limbic system, which we've talked about numerous times on this show. And the limbic system is not entirely where all emotions come from, but 99% of our emotional responses come from the limbic system. So that emotional response that you just had talking about that relationship, that is something from the limbic system. If we didn't have limbic systems, we wouldn't have almost any purposeful behavior. They did experiments with the gentleman named Walter Freeman I was talking about before, who was running the brain lab at Berkeley many years ago. They did experiments with chickens, and they disconnected their limbic systems. And when they disconnected their limbic systems, there was no more purposeful behavior. There was some random pecking and so forth, but there was no purposeful behavior. So the theory is that not only all emotions come from the limbic system, but all intentional, goal-directed behavior starts in the limbic system.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is gigantic. What it means is the brain is a gigantic, huge survival machine being driven by emotional responses. Okay, now here's the key.
Cool.
Okay, we got that. So we have a limbic system. It's deep inside the brain, and it's really the grand central station for emotional reactivity. All right, wonderful. However, the limbic system is almost entirely wired up by the time we're 5 or 6. Now, there is some meaningful wiring that takes place after that, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying to you, Vanessa, in the example you brought up, is it's impossible for you to feel that feeling that you did unless it's associated with early childhood emotional learning.
So essentially asking myself the question that when I was in those relationships, how did it point back to my childhood?
Exactly. Now here's the key, and I had this discussion with somebody earlier today. Okay, and the question was, well, wouldn't any of us have that kind of a reaction? And the answer is no. We all might feel rejected and react to perceived rejection, but the way in which we would experience that is specialized to our early childhood learning. So the way you experience rejection and the way I experience rejection is unique to our learning and our experiences during those formative years when the emotional brain was being wired up.
Mike Ross.
Sorry, my phone rang.
That's okay.
So,
Okay.
so the point being that that if we have an emotional reaction, it all comes from the limbic system and relates to early emotional learning. Okay, now
Mhm.
getting back to the anchoring principle, there is an anchor here. What is the anchor? The anchor is that your experience of in a relationship is anchored to your early childhood experiences that are similar.
Yep.
And so another way of looking at this is that's a trigger,
Mhm.
but it's an anchor.
Yeah.
And so we've learned this principle that if we fire off an anchor, then we're linking two things together in the brain.
Right.
And what I'm saying now in this part of what we're talking about is there are already all kinds of things that are linked together by association like this. And so when you experience somebody who's not leading in a relationship, you experience, a perceived rejection that you learned about as a child.
Yeah. Right.
Okay? Now what we want to do, we want to do the whole thing in reverse now. Because what we want to do is decouple these two things. We want to get rid of the anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are we going to get rid of the anchor? We get rid of the anchor by realizing that the two things are linked together. That we don't realize that they are.
That my childhood and what I've
Right.
experienced in relationships. Oh, okay.
So in other words, as you're standing there
Mm.
interacting with this person who's not taking the lead and your interpretation is they don't care about you, there is a part of you unconsciously that's experiencing that from your childhood. It's a re-experiencing it.
Ouch.
Okay, so how do we interrupt the pattern? We interrupt the pattern by acknowledging the fact that it has to be linked to something.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our childhood and find out what's this linked to. Oh, my mother
I know
never listened
exactly
to
what
me.
it's linked to.
I know you do, and I don't want to expose you.
Thank you.
But now the point is, okay, now we've got this information. Your perceived rejection is linked to childhood learning, and you know what that is now.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we use the anchoring principle in reverse. So now, every time you're in a situation where your perception is the other person is not leading because they don't care about you, you ask the question, how's this related to this person from my past? And what you're doing is you're peeling back the layer and you're exposing this anchor.
Whoa, I love that.
And so instead of firing off the anchor, you realize the anchor's already been fired off. Okay, where is it? Where's the anchor? What's this related to?
Mhm.
And as you
So,
go ahead.
mhm. I'm sorry. So I'm curious with this anchor because you said it's opposite. This anchor is mostly taking place in my brain, right? Because
Right.
I'm not doing anything physically. Because
That's
like you
right.
said, you already know where it's at, and it's
Right.
right here. Okay.
So in the previous example, when we started this evening, we used the anchoring principle. We used the body as a way of anchoring two things together for a positive reason to lessen the negative impact of an experience. Okay, well, what's happening now in the brain? The brain is using this principle all the time, and so when we have an emotional reaction, we know at that point that an anchor has been fired off.
Mhm.
Two things have been linked together. Okay, what are those two things? Well, we're experiencing one of them right in front of us, right? Here's this doofus man who won't lead, you know. Okay, so there's the present moment experience I'm having, but I'm also having this reaction that I know intellectually, I know it's linked to early childhood learning. How do I uncover this? Just by asking the question, what is this related to? And
Yeah.
and every time you ask the question, you're exposing the way those two things are anchored together. And in essence, it does the same thing. It gradually lowers the threshold of pain that you're experiencing because you know that Larry, who can't get his act together, is linked emotionally to your mom who, worked all the time and never came home and paid any attention to you. That's not true in your case, but I mean, and
Mm.
so suddenly you realize that the brain has mistakenly linked these two things together. And then you take another
Yeah.
look at Larry and realize, wait a minute, Larry's not my mom. That's not what's happening
Hmm.
here.
Hmm. Because, okay, I guess I've also just considered the fact that it's the same concept of we're looking at your past and how it relates to your childhood. We're so used to choosing partners that make us feel that sense of familiarity.
Right.
And so at that point, do I even pursue anything with Larry? Like, I mean, like you said, it's not Larry's not my mom or my dad or whoever it is in anyone's situation. Um, but wow, there's a lot of, I guess I just have a lot of questions. Like, how do
Well,
I just get
ask
beyond
ask
Larry?
ask the question. So the first question is now that you know this, that Larry is a trigger for your mother or your father or whoever it is,
Mm.
then you can take another look at Larry and say, okay, he's not rejecting me. That's not what's happening here. What actually is going on with Larry? Because your brain is trying to get you to interpret it a certain way that is not accurate.
Because I'm trying to survive.
That you're trying to survive your early childhood relationships in the
Okay.
form of Larry who's standing in front of you.
Poor Larry.
Yeah, I know. And
Dealing with the
and
brunt of everything.
and all of a sudden you can see, okay, this is my stuff that's coming up. And when you get that
Mm.
handled, you look at Larry and say, oh, I see what Larry's doing. Larry doesn't want to
Yeah.
lead because he doesn't want to be in trouble, and that comes from his baggage that he brought with him. Now you have a decision to make.
Oh. Oh, that's cool. Which is why I can see the importance of getting together with someone who understands what's what's kind of like playing in the background in their subconscious.
Right. Now
That is
you,
so important.
well, there's two things. Now, number one, you know this is not personal. Larry's struggling with his own stuff. And number
Okay.
two, if it's early in the relationship, you can reformulate a foundation with Larry and say, Larry, this is what I need from you. And I also need for you to understand why you can't give it to me. Because I'm not going to be able to go forward in a relationship with you unless you can overcome this somehow. And I
Hmm.
know a number you can call, 1-800 Dr. Mark,
Yeah.
and
I love that. Yeah.
and you can work on this and I'll hang in there and we'll see if we can overcome this. But this is what I need. This is where my
Mm.
reaction's coming because when I was a little girl, I had to get up and take care of 5 kids and do everything for everybody else and I don't want to have to do that. I don't want you to be a kid I have to take care of. Or
I
you take a
love
look,
that.
okay, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Sorry. I just speaking out loud.
Or well, this is about knowing your story and how it all fits together.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, here's the thing, Vanessa. At some point, you're going to have Larry in your life so you can learn this. That's the purpose of a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, and now once you've learned it, now you can make a decision is Larry worth saving or not?
Mm.
Do I really want to hang
Yeah.
in there and see if we can work this out or not? And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Now, if you're married already, you've made a commitment, now you have an obligation to really dive in and work on this and, you know,
Yeah.
get it sorted out because this is serious business.
Right.
But yeah,
Mm.
if you were a little when you were a little girl, you were the oldest, and your parents walked away and turned the other 4 kids over to you to raise and to cook and clean and do all that stuff. You're going to grow up and you're going to find somebody who's completely helpless, and because you think that's what a relationship is supposed to be.
Yeah. I just think it's so mind-boggling that so many of us don't understand the implications that our childhood has on our relationships.
It's
Like it's right
gigantic.
in front of us. It's
Yes.
in front of us. I've started dissecting my family members and friends and their relationships, and I know a little bit of everybody's childhoods, and I see their childhoods in full effect again. Like
Hmm.
they're just repeating a pattern. They don't know any better. I don't say that as judgment. I just say it as it's like now that I have that awareness, it sucks, which is why I haven't been in a relationship in quite some time because I know there's a lot of stuff to work on, and there's just a lot subconsciously that I still am trying to point back to my childhood. And
You
I
need
love how
you
you
need to
mentioned,
you need to get in a relationship so you can work on this.
yeah, I mean, I just, no, not right now. Not right now. Absolutely not. I'm good right now. I take care of my two adult toddlers, which is my grandparents. I love them, but they're a lot right now. But it's I just love how you mentioned it's important to state the needs in the beginning of a relationship.
Right.
So I love how you said like Larry might was maybe wasn't able to speak up as a kid because he got torn down, pushed down all the time, and so coming to me, it's going to be very intimidating. Like, I don't want to say anything to her. I'll just let her lead.
Right.
That is so powerful. Like, and I wish that more people understood this. Like, when you get into a relationship, it is okay, more than okay, to state what you do and don't want and what you do and don't need in the early stages, not
Hmm.
waiting so long until you're married and then it's like, oh man, I'm stuck.
Right.
Or getting relationship after relationship, like, hey, why do I keep meeting the same? It's a different face, different person, but it's the same personality,
Right.
same thing I'm used to. Like it's so crucial to ask those questions up front.
But you need to know what those needs
Mm-hmm.
are and why you have those needs.
Right.
And most people are sleepwalking and they have no idea. They think they're in this relationship because you both love hiking. No, you're in
Yeah.
this relationship because this person reminds you of somebody who couldn't take care of themselves. Yes, we unconsciously choose our partners based on the parent caregiver with whom the issue started with in childhood. Absolutely 100% true.
Hit it
That's the
on the
way
nail.
that's the way human beings, and that is how would you pronounce that username?
Let's see. Is it my love? Oh 07? I can't see. My eyes are failing me, even if I have glasses. But
Nyleve. I don't know.
New York love.
Maybe.
NYLOVE.
It's not
Thank
love.
you.
It's Leve. Anyway, thank you so much for joining
Oh,
us, and for the your comment is absolutely right on target.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
that's 100% correct. And the first, my first job when I do couples counseling is to convince people that's what's happened. And man, they struggle with that. They just so want to blame the other person.
Yeah.
They're stuck in that. So the principle we're trying to get to tonight was the idea that the brain has all these things ready to link up. And it's
Yeah.
just the same principle as a kinesthetic anchor. When you fire off that anchor, two things happen at once. A neural network with an emotional reaction happens along
Mm-hmm.
with the present experience, and those two things get linked together, or vice versa. The current experience triggers a linkage with something from the past, and if you're not aware of it, then it's going to control you.
That just led me to think how there's so many
Hi, Evelyn.
experiences that. Oh, it's Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn.
You did learn from the
Thank
best,
you.
Evelyn. Yeah,
It's
so
interesting to me how, like, there's a lot of experiences in life that we continue to kind of just keep coupling together. And we're just kind of left walking with these things and
well,
not really doing anything.
I said a few minutes ago, the brain is a gigantic survival machine, but it's also a gigantic association machine.
Yeah.
It's always every second, every millisecond, it's trying to pair our current experience with a past experience that we've learned from in order to help us survive. But
Yeah.
it's a system doomed to failure because the learning that it's comparing to is childhood learning, and away we go. We're all, we're back in trying to sort out some issue we brought with us that we're not aware of. And so it all becomes this unconscious process that we don't understand. And then we decide that, Larry really is a narcissist and he's, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry I wasted so much time with him. And then we go on, we do it all over again with somebody new.
That's right, Mark. Like I don't think we take that time to see what really is happening. We just keep placing labels. Well, he was a narcissist. He was a loser. He didn't have enough money. He didn't have this, which some of those things could be true, but more than likely, each of those guys are going to have something, or women have something in common, and you're
Right.
not realizing it's all a part of the same equation.
That's
Like, what
right.
have we not changed in the equation?
Yeah.
Um,
Good. Well, we have a few more minutes left. If you have a question, put it in the comments. We'll address it before we go. I think this has been kind of a lively conversation, actually.
I think so too.
I
I
wasn't
like that you. I'm sorry.
I wasn't sure where it was going to go when I started out.
You have to have more faith in yourself, Mark.
Ah, there you go.
That's what it is. I really appreciate how you started off with like the physical,
Mm-hmm.
kinesthetic marker, and then also acknowledging, hey, there's also one up here for childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see how that would be counterintuitive if you do the childhood, if you're thinking of your childhood and you capture that memory physically, like, wait, we don't want that. Like, that, we already have enough of that
Right.
that plays through our brain. So I like how that was a bit different in terms of
Good.
like, that wasn't reframing. It's just, okay, how do we, obviously, we can't erase those memories from childhood, but we can
Uh-huh.
do something about it differently when we get into a relationship. And that's has
Well,
such a profound impact too.
by becoming aware of those triggers, we can realize how they're trying to insert themselves where they don't belong.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's the whole point. All right, we'll pause one more time for any other comments or questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. By the way, check out our online community. You have I can't remember whether it's a week, 5 days, 3 day free trial. Scan the QR code. If you're watching the recording, there will be a link, and you can go to our Thought Masters community and check it out there. We have tons of stuff going on. Any final thoughts for tonight, Vanessa?
I just wanted to highlight the importance of always going back to your childhood. Obviously, in a positive sense. Don't ruminate on it, but like in this case where I'm in this relationship, I'm feeling these things. What in my childhood does this point to? Just constantly asking ourselves that
That,
question will
that's
be
right.
so helpful in the long run so that we don't feel that entrapment that we're so, honestly, we're just so used to feeling,
Right.
and just that sense of helplessness, like when we were kids, that we're also used to feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so important to truly just hone that in. Like, what does this, how does this point to my childhood? And what is a choice that I can make right now with this person in front of me that can change the trajectory of my future?
Excellent. God, what a way to summarize. That's very smart. All
Thank you.
right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday at 6:15 for another session, and we love your feedback. If you listen to the recording, put your comments, like and subscribe. We're getting a lot of momentum. We're getting a lot of really good comments, and your support means everything. Building one of these channels is a little bit like trying to construct the Hoover Dam with toothpicks. It's pretty tough, and
Great imagery, Mark. A little dramatic, but I like
oh well,
that.
I have a flair. All right, you guys.
Thank you,
Vanessa, thanks so
everybody.
much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank
You're a
you,
really
Mark.
good
Thanks,
sport.
everybody.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.